The agenda today, so we'll run through who can enter the awards, the award categories, why enter, talk about the judges, the business entry process, in particular the entry criteria, the site visit, the individual award and the interview involved, how to enter, so we'll just navigate the website as well, some tips, some key dates, and what we'll do is we'll leave questions until the end. However, at any point in time, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so who can enter the awards? So the awards is open to businesses who are within or reside within 40 kilometres from the Geelong City Centre. The business could also be a franchise or organisation, a private and/or commercial business. It could even be a department of a business or a fully funded organisation, government-funded organisation. The department could be a training or educational organisation, and it also could be a not-for-profit organisation as well. We have 20 award categories, and before today's information session, you were actually sent a flyer which lists all of those 20 categories alongside the sponsor who sponsors them, and also provides a description of each category. The categories are based on the size of your business, meaning the number of employees that you have. So we have your small business award, medium and a large business award. And we also have specialised awards like digital engagement, inclusive and accessibility, and so forth. Now, the common question I get asked is, how many awards can I enter? And the simple answer to that is that you may enter as many awards as you like. I also need to mention we also have the individual award, which is Business of the Year and Business Leader of the Year. In some cases, you may have ticked maybe 3 or 4 categories, and the judges may decide that you actually should have entered in, say, sustainable business. And if they believe that your entry is good enough to be a finalist for that particular category, they will automatically enter you. Okay, so why enter the awards? This is an incredible opportunity for you to actually devote time to spending on your business instead of managing all the day-to-day. You'll be able to walk away with a mini business plan, and hopefully will enable you to open up some valuable insights into your business. It's a wonderful opportunity to engage your team in terms of enabling them to write part of your submission and to learn more about your business. There are amazing networking opportunities involved where you get to meet all the other different finalists and sponsors, not to mention the promotional opportunities for your business. I might actually ask Ellie from the Geelong Gallery, who have won multiple awards year after year, and actually were this year inducted into the Hall of Fame. Ellie, can you please share why did the Geelong Gallery enter the awards in the past, and what have been the benefits of entering?
Thanks, Danielle. I think there have been so many benefits for us for entering these awards. Just through the application process, getting to see everything that we do as an organisation. We're a pretty small team with maybe 1 or 2 people department, so getting to see everything that we do holistically was really valuable and highlighted some areas that maybe we didn't focus on as much, or we found opportunities for where we could grow or keep developing. But for us as a not-for-profit organisation, we do rely on a lot of funding, partnerships, sponsorships. So being able to use the leverage of winning these awards in areas that are really important for us. So we won corporate responsibility, I think in 2019, and in 2020 and 2021, we were able to win the Inclusivity and Accessibility Award, which is something that we work really hard on and put a lot of focus into that area in our organisation. It was really great to use that to promote what we do, share what we do with the community, and then be able to grow those programs through finding new partnerships or supporting funding applications as well.
Wonderful, Ellie, and thank you so much for being here today, and congratulations again on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I will now run through a slide regarding the judges. So this year for the awards, we have 18 judges. We also have some review judges and some guest judges as well. Those judges come from lots of different industries, have been successful in their own right, and they contribute over 80 hours of voluntary work for the awards. Each of the judges are required to sign a confidentiality agreement, and this ensures privacy of the information that you provide. The judges are also required to declare any conflicts of interest. So what that means is they're not allowed to judge any submission where they're in the same industry, where they're a friend, a colleague, or even a business mentor. I would now like to hand over to Simon Flowers. Simon is our chair of judging, and he's been involved in the judging program for the last 14 years. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Tennille. I think we're going to go through the process of what the entry is all about. So there's two parts to the entry process. The first part is in relation to the written entry, and we'll concentrate today's session mainly on that. The second part of the entry process is if you get through to be a finalist of the awards, then you'll get a visit by 2 or 3 of the judges, and then they will do a second scoring of your entry, and we add those two together, divide it by half, and there's your final score. So the written online entry process is answering a business summary and 5 core criteria. The business summary doesn't score anything from a marking point of view, but sets the scenes for the judges, and essentially allows the judges to understand what your business is about, and how many employees you have, and that sort of stuff. The word limit's very important, 2,500 words. If you go over this word limit, you won't be a finalist for the awards. It is very strict. There's a word guide there in relation to 450 words per section per criteria. That is movable, but you still have to overall get under the 2,500 words. All the 5 criteria carry the same weight. So each question or each criteria is marked out of 100. Make sure that you don't use all your words on the first 4 criteria and leave the 5th one with nothing in it. Don't attach marketing plan, testimonial, business plans, that sort of stuff to your written entry. We will count them in your word limit, which will then breach that word limit and you won't be a finalist. If you want to show us that stuff, if you get through as a finalist, you can show that stuff at the site visit. Any attachments that are included in the word count, good way of getting around that is graphs and photos. Those aren't counted, but if you take a photo of a testimonial, then we will count those words. Photos are great for awards that you've won, things like that. The responses are based on the period the 1st of April 2021 to the 31st of May 2022. So when we talk about a winning written entry, what we're after here is for you to tell the judges what you do, who you do it for, what happens as a result. It's very important if you make a statement like, I'm an employer of choice, then we want you to provide evidence of why you think that. How are you different to your competitors? It's very important to understand the judges won't look at your website when they mark your written entry. So they're concentrating on what's in the written entry. If we have a look at your website, it'll be at the site visit. So to become a finalist, you have to have a great response to all the criteria very evenly. So the business summary, as I said, doesn't get any scores, but what it provides to the judges is essentially a general overview of your business. What we're trying to understand here is that, what is your business is about? How many employees do you have? What markets or products or services do you provide? The reason why we ask for this is because we instruct the judges to essentially put themselves into your shoes and say, well, what would I expect this type of business to do? We don't expect a sole trader to have massive marketing plans and massive HR policies and all that sort of stuff. But if we had an entry with 100 staff, then we probably would expect that sort of stuff. The other thing that the business summary does is it also is able to be used for your marketing purposes. So media releases and social media posts that the chamber provide, as well as any team photos and business logos. Make sure the business logos are high res, so they can be used for your own marketing purposes. So we head to the first question, or first criteria. The first criteria is all about your business achievements. Okay, there's 3 questions in this criteria. The first question is wanting to understand what your achievements have been over the last 3 years. Okay, this is the only question in the whole of the entry process that allows you to talk about the last 3 years. So what we're after here is, what awards have you won? Have you grown your revenue? Have you decreased your costs? Have you changed premises into a bigger premises? Have you bought some big machinery? Have you increased number of employees? A whole range of different things of what you think is your achievements over the last 3 years. What we're also after here is that we actually don't want to see dollar figures. The whole thing with the awards is that we don't want to see dollars. So if you want to show your growth, then make sure you do it in percentage points, because then that can actually show us how you've gone. The next question is about your innovative practices. In the entry booklet, there's a definition of innovative practices. It's very wide ranging. It talks about new or different improved products or services, new processes, new marketing, new organizational methods, basically anything that is innovative. And I'm sure that over the last 3 years, everyone's been innovative, that you can answer this question. The third question is about sustainability and environmental initiatives. Again, the entry booklet provides a whole range of different ideas of what you've done from a sustainability point of view. This criteria has 2 distinct awards attached to it. So there's an innovation award and there's also a sustainability award. So if you're wanting to try and win one of these awards, then you might need to beef up the number of words you use in this question. So for example, instead of using 4 or 450 words, you might have to use 7 or 750 and then take it off evenly over the last 4 criteria. The second criteria is all about marketing. So what we're after here is describing your approach to marketing. Now, there also, again, is a separate award that you can win, which is a Digital Engagement Award. What we're after here is what's your approach to marketing? How do you keep engaged with your clients? How do you promote your target market, your products to your target markets? What's your campaigns? How do you do it? Do you check it? Do you see if it's actually performing well? Do you change? What sort of advertising do you do? Sponsorships, that sort of stuff. Essentially what you do from a marketing point of view. Now, the other question we ask is, who is your target market? The easiest way for me to answer this is to use an example. The first year that I did judging, I went and visited a nail bar. And instead of the owner saying that their target market is females in the Geelong area, she'd actually had a very, very targeted marketing campaign. So she broke down her client base into age groups and then produced nail polishes for those different age groups. She also then did targeted marketing and had events based on the age groups and the likely spend by those clients. So very targeted marketing. The third criteria is about customer service. So you'll see in this criteria, there's 3 questions, and all 3 questions have a separate award that you can actually win. The first question is about describing your customer service. So essentially, what is your customer service philosophy? How do you and your staff go about it? Do you have some examples of what you do? How do you measure your customer service? Do you have feedbacks? Do you have surveys? Do you do mystery shopping? How do you cultivate your service standards? How do you deal with customer complaints? How do you turn an unhappy customer into a loyal customer? Provide us with some examples of how you go about it. The second part of this question is about describing your approach to addressing inclusiveness and accessibility. So what we're after here is about the physical accessibility within your place of business. We're also after what is your inclusiveness in relation to social inclusion, policies, attitudes, partnerships. How do you communicate this to your staff? And anything from an accessible point of view. The third part of the question or criteria is describing your approach to addressing corporate social responsibility. So what we're after here is, what contribution do you and your business make to the community? Now, it doesn't need to be a dollar figure. It can be also your time. So anything that you do, who do you support? What groups have you aligned with? Social inclusion again, and what sort of local corporate social citizen are you in relation to your local community, traineeships, apprenticeships, using local suppliers. The fourth criteria is about people and culture. So again, there's 3 questions. There's 2 awards to win in this criteria. So the first thing is outline your business strategies. Describe your culture. Describe your management style. How do you communicate to your staff? How do you deal with recruitment and strategy? Do you have staff training and development policies? Do you do performance reviews? Do you have staff incentives and benefits, work functions? How do you engage with your staff? Do you have position descriptions and employment agreements? Anything from a people and culture point of view. The second question is about describing your practices to support a workplace culture focused on health and well-being. So what we're after here is describe how to communicate and model your commitment to health and well-being for your employees. How is management involved in the health and well-being? Explain what sort of practices you use from a health and well-being to your staff. What sort of resources have you provided in this area? The third question is about demonstrating your understanding and commitment to protect the health and safety of your employees and clients. So what did you do in relation to protecting your employees and clients from COVID? How do you reduce your health and safety risks in your workplace? How do you identify your risks and mitigate those? What sort of safety reporting procedures do you have, and what sort of training do you do with your employees in relation to safe and healthy workplaces? The last criteria is about finance. So the thing about this question again is that when we don't want to see dollar figures. This question is about your financial management processes. If you want to talk about your results or your financials, then that's back in question 1, where your achievements are outlined. This question is about the processes. So what are your financial management procedures? Do you have budgeting? Do you monitor your cash flow? Do you monitor your stock control? What about debt and reinvestment and capital investment into your business? Do you meet with a bookkeeper or an accountant? Do you have some set KPIs for your business that you monitor on a regular basis? Do you use a computer system to monitor your financials? How do you control your debtors and creditors? A whole range of different financial procedures that businesses go through, and what we're after here is what do you actually do in this aspect. The second part of this question is understanding what your risks of your business are and what practices you employ to mitigate those risks. So it might be the case that you've got competitor risks, or you've got market risks, or supply chain risks. A lot of people at the moment have a lot of staff shortages. How do you manage those? Do you have long-term leases on your premises? What do you do from an IT point of view, backup, security, that sort of stuff? So what we're after here is, what's your major risks? How do you mitigate those risks? So the process is that you put in your written entry. The judges will mark the written entry and you'll get a written entry score. The judges will then decide based on those scores who will be a finalist for the awards and receive a site visit. The site visits are conducted between the 15th of August and the 14th September. And when the judges come out to visit you, we want you to go through the 5 criteria again, and also add in anything that you couldn't fit into the word limit. So it might be the case that you had 3 or 4 things that you wanted to cover in the written entry, but you didn't have space for it. So this is an opportunity for you to add further information to your entry, as well as provide evidence in relation to some of the stuff that was in your written entry. The judges will then step away, mark that entry or that visit as a second visit, and your written entry score and your site visit score are added together, halved, and that's your final score. We also have 2 individual awards, as Tennille talked about earlier. So the first individual award is Business Leader of the Year. So these awards can be entered by a particular person, or they can be entered through a nomination process by someone nominating you and answering these questions on your behalf. So the 2 questions for Business Leader is provide an overview of yourself, including a brief description of your leadership qualities, achievements, and skills. The second question is about addressing the following examples, like please demonstrate how you and your business sets, implements strategies, leads people, defines culture, etc. This award is entered individually and can be entered separately to your business. So the entry process is essentially 500 words answering these 2 questions, plus your CV, plus a reference from a separate person. The second award is the Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Okay, and the definition, rightly or wrongly, for young is classified as 40. So anyone 40 and under can enter the Young Entrepreneur of the Year. So again, there's 2 questions. You need to answer it within the 500 words, the CV, the reference, the same as the Business Leader of the Year. So the first question is, provide an overview of yourself, including a brief description of your leadership qualities, achievements and skills, and what are your goals over the next 5 years. The thing to understand with these two awards is they're very prestigious awards, and if you need help in relation to reviewing your answers to your questions, there is the ability to receive a free review by the chamber, and hopefully that helps you in your answering these two questions. These are just some general tips that we provide in relation to your written entry. So the first tip might be that maybe you write a section each day when finished with the business summary. There is no right or wrong answer in relation to how do you complete your written entry. It can be through dot points, it can be through tables, it can be through paragraphs. There is no set standard way of winning the awards. One major tip though is to save and answer your questions in a Word document, because it's great to have a backup and it also helps you count your word limit. My big suggestion is to, when I answer the 5 questions, is to write your top 10 points for each question. You may not be able to fit in the 10 points, but at least you've got a stock standard answer plus additional answers if you get to the site visit. Make sure you bullet point your answers. It's not a thesis. Trying to adhere to cut back the word limits. Make sure you be able to fit more information in. When you make a statement, back it up with evidence. Photos and graphs are great to validate points, and don't use many words at all. Share the details of how you've adapted, survived and thrived. Well-considered answers for all criteria put you in the best spot to actually become a finalist. Speak to the chamber if you would like someone to help you write your entry. You don't have to do it yourself. And first-time entrants can use the reviewer service provided by the chamber. The reviewers are all ex-judges who have read heaps of entries before and try and help you get the best chance of becoming a finalist.
Thank you, Simon. I guess the big points here is really to give yourself the best chance of becoming a finalist of the awards. Please make sure that you develop well-considered answers for all the entry criteria. And most importantly, with your statements, please make sure that you have evidence to back it up. As Simon mentioned, we do recommend that you document your entry criteria into a Word document. And then the actual entry process is online. So I recommend copy and pasting the answers to the entry criteria into the online form. And as Simon mentioned, it's a great backup, a great way to count your word count, obviously your words, but also it's a great way to distribute that entry criteria to your team to get their input into the entry as well. I'll just share the slide. To enter the awards, you need to head to gbea.com.au. And to develop an entry, you need to create a login. We do have a review service, and the review service is open to all first-time entrants of the awards or entrants who have never been a finalist of the awards. And what that means is that you submit your entry criteria in a Word document to gbea@geelongchamber.com.au from the 3rd of June until the 8th of July is the deadline. We will then provide your entry criteria to a review judge. The review judge will read your entry, and then we will send back your entry with feedback on how you can improve it. And we'll make sure that we do this well before the deadline. So the deadline for the entries this year is the 15th of July at 4 p.m. And my biggest tip is please don't leave it to the last minute. Things can go wrong with the internet. We don't want you to miss out. So it is strictly 4 p.m. on the 15th of July. I will now share screen to the GBEA website just to give you an idea of how to actually enter the awards. Sorry. Okay, it is up. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong screen then. So we have the GBEA website, and to enter, we click on here, which is enter. And it should go to an entry form. What usually happens is there's create a login entry where you just put your name, your last name and your email address and you submit it. And then the landing page is this site here. So we have a business entry, the young entrepreneur, and then the business leader. You are absolutely welcome to enter all three if you like, but it does mean you need to submit an entry for all three different types of awards. For today's example, I'm going to enter into a business. So you click business. And at the start, there's some really useful information to you. For instance, the awards entry booklet, which you already have a copy, how to enter, and some recommendations as well. If we scroll further down, this is where we officially start the entry process. So we complete the entrant details. And the red star means mandatory fields. And you will not be able to submit the entry without completing those sections. You will need to let us know who will be accepting the award should you win on the night. So we would need their name, their title, and so forth. We need to know how many employees that you have in your business, full-time equivalent, the number of words in your entry. And as Simon said, it's really important that you do not go over that word count. The next section is the award categories. So you can tick as many awards as you like. Please don't be concerned as to whether you think you've ticked the right one. The judges will read through your submission and they will put you in the right category if they think that you are eligible to become a finalist. And this is where we officially start. So here is the business summary section. We recommend around 250 words for this section. And as Simon mentioned earlier, this part is really important for the awards team to use for marketing purposes. So it's important that you don't put any confidential information in that part. You'll notice that there's these boxes here. You can click to expand, and it just gives a further explanation around what you should enter in that particular field. Here you can upload your business team photo. We really would love photos of your team, not necessarily products. We like to see your smiling faces on the big screen on the awards night. And also your business logo. And just make sure that you provide us with a high-res version. And here is the written criteria. So we start off here with business achievements. And here is a bit of a guide of the number of words that you should dedicate to this area. This is the only question in the online entry that you can look over the last 3 years. You can also upload files as supporting evidence. But please keep in mind that the attachments are part of your word count unless they're descriptions of photos and graphs. So if you're going to upload a media release, those words are going to be included in the word count. So what I'd recommend is you hold on that media release for the site visit. Again, you can click the box to expand for tips on how to answer the question here. The remainder of the questions are based on the 1st of April 2021 to the 31st of May 2022. Again, we can type in this section and you can upload files. And that process is repeated for all the different sections. So here we have the marketing section and customer service. Now, Simon mentioned before, you may be really eager to win a certain award, say, for instance, customer service. If that's the case, you're welcome to add more words to this section. But please make sure that you do develop well-considered answers for all the entry criteria. Here's the people and culture section. Again, we can click to expand on to learn how to answer this question. All the tips are in the entry booklet that you have already. And the final section is finance. In this section here, we just would like you to make sure that you've read the conditions of entry, that you give permission for the awards team to use your photo, logo, and your business summary for marketing purposes. And all you need to do is click submit. We do have a save for later button. So if you'd like to start working on your entry online, you're welcome to do so, and you can save as you go. And you can go back to your entry at any point in time using your login and password. The key dates for the awards. So as mentioned, the review service, the end date for the review service is on the 8th of July, and the entries close on the 15th of July at 4 p.m. In early August, we will let you know if you've been shortlisted as a finalist of the awards, and we will call you to book in a site visit. But that site visit needs to take place between the 15th of August or the 14th of September. Now, if you're a sole trader, you may like to meet in a cafe or somewhere that you're comfortable in meeting. It could even be in the offices of the Geelong Chamber of Commerce. So that's something we can talk through with you. If you are shortlisted for the Business Leader of the Year or the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, you will be required to come in to the Geelong Chamber offices for an interview. And that interview will take place on the 12th of August. And unfortunately, we can't move that date. The presentation event this year will be a face-to-face event, which is really exciting because the last 2 years have been a virtual event, but it'll be taking place on the 27th of October from 6 p.m. So please make sure that you put that in your diary. And we will also be hosting a winners cocktail event on the 9th of November, where we celebrate you as our winner and also to thank our sponsors as well. Okay, so we're now up to the questions. Before we head into the questions, I'd actually like, Simon, if you could possibly talk through, if you're a sole trader, how would you answer the business entry criteria, especially the people and culture section?
Sure, Tennille. I think the other 4 questions are very stock standard that you can pretty much answer based on, doesn't matter really what size of business you actually have. The people and culture section sometimes can be hard to answer because you don't have employees. So what we're after there is more, what do you do from your own personal, development point of view? It might be the case that someone goes out and does a a training session on something that is in your business. Like a photographer might do a training session on different types of photography. But we've also seen that photographers also have completed, online accounting software training sessions as well for their business. So it's anything from whatever you do yourself, from a training development point of view, but it's also from a health and safety point of view and healthy workplaces. What do you do from your own point of view in relation to keeping healthy? And it could be that your COVID jabs, flu jabs, could be go to the gym, go for walks, whatever the case may be. So it's more of a personal approach. Question 4 for or criteria 4 for micro and small businesses, but for large businesses, we would expect to see all the bells and whistles of what the examples provide.
Thank you, Simon. And Ellie, before I head into the other questions, and please, if you do have a question today, please write your question into the QA function at the bottom of your screen. And if you come up with questions after this presentation, you're welcome to contact the awards team. But Ellie, I would love you to share any tips that you have about the written entry process, or even tips about the site visit that you can share with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So something that we found really valuable was actually splitting it up and sharing it across our team. So that sort of takes a lot of the pressure off, because especially the first time that we put our entry together, it was quite an intensive process. And so splitting it up across a few different people, getting different people to read it with the entry criteria and seeing, are they getting the messages that you want to put in the entry that you think the judges will pick up, can be really valuable as well. Definitely having data to support what you're saying is really important, even if it's just percentage points, or for us it was visitation figures or attendance for programs. But being able to contextualize that is really important. Obviously, COVID's had a really big ongoing impact on a lot of businesses, and it's often quite a unique challenges that you all face. So being able to articulate what they are and why your results are really great in the face of those challenges can be really important, because the judges won't necessarily know the ins and outs of your industry or your business. So I think that's really important to articulate as well. And I guess just submitting an entry is the most important thing. You've just got to be in it to win it, really. So it's really important just to give it a go. We found the review process really fabulous, especially that first year. We found that we had a lot of the information, but putting it in the context of the entry form in a way that it was clear and concise and really easy for the judges to see all the great things that we did. So that process was really valuable too.
Ali, I love that tip. You definitely have to be in it to win it. So please make the time to submit your entry. And as Simon mentioned, you don't need to write a thesis. You can write dot points to the different criteria, and definitely use the review service for feedback. We might go through to the questions. The first one is from Rory. So Rory would like to ask a question about the site visit. Our business is the balloons that fly over Geelong. And I do see you over Geelong. It's amazing. Can our visit be and our flight passenger meeting site be, can our visit be and our flight passenger meeting site visit be in our office? This will show our process, what we do, how our clients and what they see us do. So Simon, can you talk about the location of the site visit and in case of what Rory does?
Sure. But I suppose the base recommendation is that when we do the site visits, we always suggest that you get an hour and a half is your site visit. So we always suggest that to limit any actual walking around your site or whatever the case may be to 20 minutes. We really want to go through the 5 criteria and how you've answered them, as well as anything else that you couldn't fit into it. not sure about jumping in a balloon and going across Geelong, it may be the case that you may do a quick video of some clients who have done that and show that to the judges. You also probably should check whether judges are scared of heights as well. So that could be a good tip as well. So a little bit of stalking of judges is okay from that point of view. So yeah, so that's how I'd probably answer that.
Great. And can entries be written from a first person perspective, like I've, me, my employees, Simon?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that, and I suppose if you're trying to win an individual award and you nominate someone, then it has to be sort of in that way anyway.
Excellent. And if you've entered the awards before, would you recommend starting with a completely clean slate when submitting your entry, or go back and build off the previous submission?
I reckon you've done a heap of hard work already, so I would be going back and building off the previous submission.
Yeah, I'd also recommend making sure that you action the feedback from the judges from last year. So Simon, do you mind just talking about the feedback that the judges do provide to each of the entrants?
Yep. So if you don't get through to be a finalist, then what the judges will be asked to do is provide a short critique on how you can improve your written entry. If you did get through and became a finalist, then the judges again are asked to provide with a couple of positive comments and a couple of constructive comments in relation to how you can actually improve your business and what we thought was the best part of your business. And that will be provided to you after the presentation night.
Excellent, thank you. Should all our employees be present for the site visit, or is 1 to 2 key staff appropriate?
I mean, the site, the hour and a half is essentially your time, so you can do whatever you want. So Ali talked about before about they typically had 3 people, I think, doing their presentation, so they split it up between the 3 of them. And that actually gave, Ali, a bit of a break from talking and gave an opportunity to someone else to get involved as well. So it's good to actually be able to split it up between a couple of people. I suppose the question is, do you get 20 people involved? Then my answer is probably no. I would keep it to maybe 3 or 4 at the maximum. Is probably my suggestion.
Excellent. Simon mentioned briefly about award writers. So if you don't have the time or resources to put together a submission, there is an opportunity or an option to engage a professional award writer. You just need to contact the awards team and we will send through some recommendations. It is an additional cost if you'd like to go down that path. Are there any questions at all? Rachel, can you see any more? Yes. Will there be a recording of this session? Yes, absolutely. So we have recorded today's session and we will be sending it out to you all. If not today, definitely tomorrow. Rachel, is there any other questions at all?
I'd probably just reflect very briefly, excuse me, on some of those that we have answered online. In regards to the Young Entrepreneur Award, the date of birth cut off to be considered under 40 years. Simon, you responded to that. Did you just want to touch on that one very briefly?
Yep. So the dates that we use from an age point of view is the entry date. So the 15th of July, 2022. So whatever your age is at that point in time is the date that we use from that cutoff.
Thanks very much, Simon. And just for clarification purposes, there's 2 questions here. One in regard to the business summary, whether or not that's counted in the word tally. And then secondary, is there a question around if you're wanting to enter the individual award, do you need to answer the business question? So just a bit of clarification around those.
Yes, so the second one was you could enter the individual award. You don't necessarily have to enter your business if you don't want to. So you can enter one or the other. And the business summary is counted within the 2,500 words. So you need to make sure that you allow for that.
That's all I've got here at this end. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you, Ali, for joining today. And thank you all for joining today's session. You might walk away with lots of questions, so we're always here to help you. So if you have any questions at all, please send us an email at gbea@geelongchamber.com.au, or you're welcome to call us on 03 5222 2234. Thank you so much, and all the best with your entry.